Hey friends, welcome back to the podcast. How are you guys doing? I hope you're having a wonderful week. Today, I want to talk with you about allergies. Is anyone else struggling with seasonal allergies, runny noses, just sinus pressure, congestion, all of that stuff? If you have been struggling with seasonal allergies, but you really don't want to reach for the over-the-counter allergy medicine, you're looking for some kind of alternative solution, something a little bit more natural, something that's not going to have any kind of harsh chemicals in it, I want to share with you some of my favorite just seasonal allergy remedies that I love to use, and also share a little bit about why they actually work. So let's get started.
Hi friend, do you dream of having a garden but you don't know where to start? Do you want to switch to more natural products but feel overwhelmed by all the options? Do you believe that a holistic lifestyle would help your special needs kiddo but you're daunted by all the information out there? Welcome to the Special Kind of Motherhood podcast, where you will learn how to work towards your dream for homesteading, gardening, and holistic living in small, simple steps that won't overwhelm you. Hi, I'm Ashley. I'm a wife, Jesus follower, and mom to some amazing kids. As some of my kids began experiencing health struggles and developmental delays, I decided it was time to switch to a holistic lifestyle. I quickly became stressed out and burnt out, feeling like I needed to change everything at once. I finally realized that I had to start making one small change at a time, then build from there. I learned to walk this holistic journey in a way that works for me and my family, without stress or overwhelm or constantly feeling like I wasn't doing enough. If you're ready to hear from another mama who understands what it's like to have no time and who can help you make changes towards better health for your family in a way that works for your specific life, then this is the podcast for you. Pop in your earbuds, reheat your coffee for the third time, and let's do this.
Friends, have you been looking for a community of like-minded mamas who understand what it is like to parent your differently abled kids, who also can give you just some different information to look into, advice, tips on holistic living, gardening, homesteading, all of the things? I want to let you know that I actually have a free Facebook community that you can join now. We would love to have you over there. I would love to get to hear from you and to get to know you more. So if you want to join, head to facebook.com/groups/special-kind-of-motherhood, and I cannot wait to see you there. Okay, so is anyone else, like I said, is anyone else struggling with allergies, seasonal allergies, just all this stuff? Every time I go out in my garden, I end up covered in a rash because I'm reacting to probably the grass, because I am allergic to grass. So probably the grass out there, and it just kind of gets old. So I've been going back through my stuff and pulling out some of my tried and true allergy remedies, just different things, because I've been dealing with a lot of sinus migraines as well, just because of sinus pressure from like constant runny nose, all of that stuff. And I've just decided, okay, I've got to be consistent with taking my different tinctures and stuff that I know work really well, and make sure that I am actually staying on top of this, because no one wants to hang out and have a migraine all the time. It's very frustrating. It really does put a damper on my productivity. It makes it to where a lot of times I end up having to go lay down because I can't get it to go away. And I'm not really one of those people who just immediately reaches for ibuprofen anytime I have a headache or even a migraine. It has to be pretty bad and not go away in order for me to take ibuprofen. I tend to try other things, like there's a supplement that I have that's turmeric and black pepper together. I love to take that. But anyways, I have just been struggling so much, needless to say, with these allergy symptoms. My kids have as well. And so I figured you guys might be as well. And I just wanted to share with you some different things that I have found to be really helpful. And this is all just very much educational. It's for entertainment. This is not me offering you any kind of medical advice. This is not anything me telling you to take something. Absolutely always check with your doctor. All of the things. This is just me giving you some information of what works for me and letting you know maybe some more information that you can go look and research and see what you think about it as well. So let's go ahead and get started. As we all know, we can head to the grocery store and we can find tons of over-the-counter remedies for allergy symptoms. But if you are trying to switch to living a more holistic lifestyle, you're trying to get away from more of the over-counter prescription type medicines, and you're really trying to find some more natural solutions, then this can be a great podcast for you. The thing with natural remedies is that they really are going to try to help to get to the root of what's actually going on, where a lot of times with these more conventional remedies, they're really just going to address the symptom, and you're going to have to continue taking it in order to feel better. And that's why I love really natural medicine, and why it has been so beneficial for my family, is because I really do believe in finding the root cause of what's going on with our bodies. Like, we're having all of these symptoms, we're having these allergy symptoms, but why are we reacting to the things in the environment? These are the kind of questions that I really like to ask myself. And this is where my brain and just the way God has wired me comes in. I want to know why, and I want to dig deeper, and I want to figure out, okay, well, if this is what's going on, then how can I fix this? And how can I make this better? And if I'm struggling in this area, then what is it that I can do? What's going on in my body? And how do I actually address that problem? And that's a little bit what I want to talk about now, actually. Many of you may not know, but there have actually been studies that have shown that a lot of times seasonal allergies can actually begin in the gut. So if we can support our gut health, not only could it possibly help us with alleviating some of these allergy symptoms, but it's just good for our overall health. It's good for our immune system. Like me, I have an autoimmune disease that is heavily linked to poor gut health. And so that's something I'm always looking at trying to improve for my family. I have children who have, I have a child who has an autoimmune disease. I have children who have other signs and symptoms of poor gut health. And there was one study that actually showed that the immune response in the gut may actually regulate the immune response in other parts of the body, so in distant organs, and one of those was actually the nose. So if you're dealing with that constant runny nose, you have to look also deeper. Is there something going on with my gut health? Am I having signs of poor gut health? What can I do in order to support my gut health? I will share with you some of the things that we do. Some really quick basic things would be having a good probiotic, having a good prebiotic, reducing inflammation in the body, and then also trying to reduce stress. So probiotics, obviously, they're going to introduce that good bacteria into your gut. Prebiotics are going to feed that bacteria so that it continue to be healthy and grow and flourish. And then another thing that I actually like to do is either collagen or colostrum. I don't do collagen for my smaller kids, so I've used colostrum in the past, just like a capsule. And that actually helps to rebuild the lining of the gut, which I have found to be very beneficial, especially if you're dealing with leaky gut or anything like that. We have a lot of food sensitivities, food intolerances in my family, so I know we are chronically dealing with leaky gut. So for me, taking these things, a great way, natural way to get collagen is making your own homemade bone broth from like chicken, beef, bones, anything like that. That's actually a great way that we get it as well. I just can our bone broth, and then we have that. It's a great source of collagen. Beef gelatin is another great way, kind of like I've mentioned in previous episodes about making gummies for your kids. That's another great way to introduce that into their diet. Those are just the kind of things that we really like to do. And then obviously reducing inflammation and reducing stress is going to be beneficial for your overall health. And then it also might support that good gut health as well. I want to share, because some people might not be super familiar with prebiotics, and while you absolutely can get them in a powdered form, and I actually do have some in a powdered form that I will link below. I use those as well, but getting them from food sources is like anything. It's a great way. It's a great way for your body to be able to break them down and to use them. It's something that I try to do with my kids. So I want to share just some different examples of prebiotics so that maybe as you're looking at giving your kids different foods, you can try to start really incorporating these in. One of them would be unripe bananas. So you don't want the ones that are like dark yellow, have brown spots, all of that. But actually when they're still like a little bit green, that would be ideal. Another thing would be unpeeled apples, because the peel actually is part of that, that is going to be beneficial. Whole oats is another great one. Flax seeds. And I want to share with the flax seeds, what I like to do is get ground flax seeds, and I will actually mix them like into my kids. I make protein bars for my kids. And so if I mix some in there, they don't even notice it. They don't even taste it. So I love being able to sneak that kind of stuff in where I can, especially for kids who really struggle with trying new foods, who have a lot of sensory sensitivities around food. I just try to put any kind of nutrition in where I can in a way that's not going to bother them. Onions and garlic are also great sources of prebiotics. And like I said, these are going to feed the good bacteria in the gut. And they're also just a great source of fiber, which if you have a child who's struggling with constipation or anything like that, it could possibly help them with that. Okay, so we've kind of shared a little bit more of that root cause that I was talking about as far as the gut health. Then I also want to share some other options that might possibly help you with minimizing the allergy symptoms that you're having. And these are going to be things like local raw honey. And the great thing about local raw honey is that it actually is an anti-inflammatory, and it's also an antioxidant. You will want to make sure that it is local and that it's raw. And the reason for that is because you want to be sure that it's actually containing the triggers that you are having from your area and your specific allergy symptoms. And usually what we do with that is we will just do maybe a few teaspoons a day of local raw honey to help with any kind of allergy symptoms or anything like that. Other options would be things like nettle and turmeric. The nettle you could do in like a capsule form or in a tea, make like a nettles tea. And with the turmeric, if you actually have little kids and they're not necessarily going to be able to swallow like a capsule or anything like that, a great option for that would actually be to take that raw local honey and mix some turmeric in with it and then just let them lick it off the spoon or something like that. Another thing that I want to talk about is actually quercetin. And quercetin is actually said to have an antihistamine effect, and it can actually inhibit the production and release of histamine in the body, which is really often considered the culprit of allergies, is that histamine in the body. So I do want to share, I will have a link for it below. One of the things that I have found to be the easiest for me, especially with my kids, is there is a tincture. It's just a liquid herbal tincture, basically, that I can give the kids or myself whenever we are struggling with allergy symptoms. And what I love about this tincture is that it actually has all natural forms of quercetin in it in a tincture form. So it's easy for the kids to take. I get the alcohol-free version for the kids, and then I don't have to worry about anything with that. It doesn't taste bad. They're fine with taking a few drops. And I love it because there's so many of these different beneficial ingredients that I've talked about. They're all combined into this one product. So it has things like nettles, it has turmeric, it has dandelion root, it has elderberry and black pepper. So I've just found it really beneficial whenever I'm struggling with allergy symptoms in helping to reduce those symptoms. And I just love it because I don't have to think about it. I do have nettles. I have dried nettles in my house. I absolutely could make a nettles tea or anything like that. I have turmeric. I could also break open a capsule, mix it up with some honey, and give it to my kids. But what I find, and I'm sure this is true for you as well, is whenever I'm just extremely busy, extremely rushed, if I'm dealing with seasonal allergies myself and I'm not feeling 100%, I just want my medicine cabinet of nice, good quality herbal tinctures that I know work, that I know I can trust. I don't want to have to think about it. I just want to be able to open it and say, okay, oh yes, we're all struggling. This child has a snotty nose and this is what's going on with them, and they have itchy eyes and all of that stuff. I'm going to grab this, give them a few drops of the tincture, and then be on my day. Obviously, I often have to set a timer to remind myself to give it to them later, because especially with herbal remedies, you do want to make sure you're being consistent with giving it to them in the dosing that's listed on the bottle. But I just have found it to be so much easier in me actually being consistent with coming to these natural remedies over doing something that would be more conventional, or that's something I could get just at the store over the counter, because it takes a lot of that stress and that guesswork out of it when you're already dealing with a sick child or you don't feel well yourself. I have all of this information in my head, and I'm always shocked because it's like when a kid gets sick or I'm sick, it just completely leaves my mind that I have all of this information, all of these resources, all of these tinctures, all of this stuff. And if it requires a lot of thought in the moment, I just find that I don't stick with it. So that's why I love having this knowledge. And I have noticed over time, I will continue to grow my skills, and I am more likely to get a little bit more in depth with putting stuff together in that moment of stress. But when I was first starting out, that was not the case. I just needed something that was a better solution than what I had been using or had been giving my kids. And I needed it to be quick and easy with very little thought process. I mean, yeah, now I will whip stuff up together if it's not me feeling sick. But if I'm also feeling sick and under the weather, I want that really quick solution to grab that I know I can trust, that I know I feel better about giving my family. So I will link this below in the show notes as well. But I just find having those good, solid options, if you're struggling with, I really want to switch to better ingredients and stuff for my family, but every time I feel like I get started, I just end up failing or I get overwhelmed by all the information. That's what I want to share, is just start with one thing, one remedy that you want to replace some kind of whatever ailment you're having, and find a good solution for that and keep that in your medicine cabinet, and just keep that as like, this is our go-to when we're struggling with this problem. I'm going to try this and see how it does. I'm going to try this out and see. This is what I'm making that mental note in my mind, that this is what I use whenever I have a problem that's this. Like I'm having allergy symptoms, or my child is having allergy symptoms, or whatever the thing may be. I've just found that to be so helpful. in really switching things out over time. Okay, so I just want to recap really fast because I felt like I kind of was a little bit all over the place in this one. But if you're struggling with allergy symptoms, some things that we have found helpful would be, one, support your gut. And then some other things that we've also found beneficial in actually helping to manage symptoms would be things like raw local honey. It would be things like nettles, turmeric, and then also, like I mentioned, that sinus saver tincture as well. And I hope that this has been helpful for you guys. I would love to hear from you. Come share over in our free Facebook community and let us know, what is it that you use whenever you are struggling with allergy symptoms. I also tend to lean on some homeopathics as well, but I kind of wanted to keep this very simple just to start out with, because I understand when you're feeling overwhelmed and you're already so busy caring for your kids, running them to therapy appointments, running them to the doctor, whatever it is that you're doing for your kids, it can feel very overwhelming to try to completely overhaul your medicine cabinet. So why don't you start with one thing? And if the thing that you're struggling with now is allergy symptoms, then maybe start to look. Are there any kind of signs and symptoms of poor gut health, of leaky gut? Talk with your trusted healthcare provider and see what is it that you think might be going on. But then also, if you're wanting to try some more natural solutions and remedies for this, then kind of go through these lists and see, what is it that I feel like works well for me? Could I go to a farmer's market and grab some local honey and try that? Could I get some organic turmeric powder and maybe mix that in with it and just start with that very simple remedy that might be able to help you with alleviating those symptoms, might be able to help your kids as well. I will say I love to take black pepper as well with turmeric. It tends to help it to be more effective. So that's why I pair the two together. And as you noticed, I mentioned that whenever I take a supplement to help with pain, it's a turmeric and black pepper supplement together. And I will link that below as well in case you want to check it out, read a little bit more up on it. And I hope you guys have a wonderful week. I will see you back next time.
Hey Mama, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If so, would you take 30 seconds to share this with a friend who is wanting to live more holistically without the overwhelm? Also, don't forget to head over to Apple Podcasts to leave me a review. It blesses and encourages me to know that this show is helping you. All right, friends, it's time for me to go work in the garden and make some homemade bone broth. I will see you back next week.